Hello, welcome to another episode of Sex After. I am your host, Ashley Cobb, and Sex After is a podcast where we talk about sex after certain pivotal moments in our lives. So today I have the Toni Bryce here, child. Hey, Toni.
Hi, Ashley.
And so you might recognize Toni. Toni has been on P Valley and some other things. So Toni, I met Toni 2 years ago? When did I meet you? What, 2 years ago? When, like 2023, 22?
Yeah, 2023. Yep.
So I met Toni about 2 years ago. She and I work in we do a prep campaign together.
Mm-hmm.
And so she is coming today. We're gonna talk about how her sex life pivoted, changed, got better, got worse, whatever, after she transitioned and what that looked like. So Toni, give us an introduction to who you are and then we'll get going.
Well, I'm Toni Bryce. I'm an actress. I'm a sexual health influencer, a prep influencer in other terms. I am, oh my God, Black woman of trans experience, college graduate, oldest of five. Like Ashley said, I've been on P Valley. I've also been on The Shy. And then I've also been on She-Hulk, which I made Marvel Cinematic Universe history, becoming the first Black woman of trans experience with a speaking role. So that was pretty dope.
She-Hulk.
She-Hulk it's called She-Hulk Attorney at Law, and it's on Disney Plus. And She-Hulk as a character is in relation to the Hawk. And I want to say it's like
Uh,
cousin. I can't remember their direct connection, but it's like the Hawk's cousin or something like that.
yeah.
Mhm.
Cool. So
Yeah.
Toni, so on the
Yeah.
show we talk about all things sex, right? And so we're just gonna get right into it. It's just like two people, two girlfriends talking.
Period.
So first question is, I guess, what age were you when you started your transition?
I was so I always talk about this in two parts.
Go ahead.
One, I've been under the trans umbrella for a very long time. Really since high school, but definitely in college. But I did not start my transition as a woman of trans experience until 2015. So that was 10 years ago, and I would have
So what's
been
the difference?
24.
So can you explain the difference between, so since high
Yeah.
school, yeah, explain what's the difference?
So back then I would have been a person that I was identifying as androgynous. And I didn't really know the term until I learned about Love Be Scott. I don't know if anybody knows or if
Hmm.
you know who Love Be Scott is.
He's from
And I
North
remember
Carolina.
watching B Scott, and they were saying on their show androgynous. I was like, what is this term? And so when I did my research, I said, oh my God, that's me. And so I've been under that trans umbrella because there's so many other terms. But as far as like being a woman of trans experience, i.e. transsexual, because you know a lot of people like to say there's a difference between being a transgender woman and a transsexual. That started 2015. So 10 years ago.
So before you officially transitioned, what was that like? Was it good? Was it like, were you doing all the things? How was that?
So there was no sex before transition.
Okay. Okay.
I didn't have sex until I transitioned. So I'll say prior to transition, but before we get to that part, I just never felt there were times in my younger years that I tried. I won't lie.
Okay.
There was younger times that I tried and it just never worked out. I remember one time there was a moment of a sexual interaction where my fingers was in a vaginal canal.
Okay.
But that was really the only other experience. But as far as me having any kind of penetrative sex, oral sex, none of that happened until after my transition. Because prior to, I wasn't really comfortable with that person, that presentation, any of that to share with another person.
Okay. And so, okay, so cool. So after your transition, you started having sexual encounters. And so how was that? So how was your first, describe to me your first sexual encounter, not in detail, but just like your first sexual encounter. How did you feel? Were you nervous? Did the person make you feel? Because typically, I'll say this: a lot of people when they have their first sexual encounter, people can be nervous. But sometimes I always say the person you have sex with can help with that. It can be a good experience or it can be a bad experience depending on who you're experiencing it with for the first time. So how was yours?
Mine it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. So it was okay. And the reason why I was okay, I would probably say is because I came in very curious. I just knew there was a point in my life where I was just like, because, okay, so I went into sex with this idea of, oh, I have to have my sex change before I ever have sex. Because I'm like, if I use my assigned genitals, that's going to make me less of a woman, right? So I went into it with that, into my transition with that. And so I'm like, I can't use my assigned genitals, so I'm not having sex until I get my sex change. Well, fast forward a year and some change, I had a conversation with a woman who was post-op, and she was like, "Girl, stop stuffing your self-pleasure. At the end of the day, sure that might be something you want, but you can also still have sexual experiences present day, and then even if you have your sex change down the line, you're still like it's still sex at the end of the day."
Okay.
So that really like sat with me, and so I remember going into my first encounter, I was like, I was just so curious. I said, fuck the intimacy. I don't care about kissing you and all of this shit. Oh, I can cuss and all of that good stuff. Okay. I don't care about kissing you and like loving on you. I don't care about none of that shit. Let's get straight to the business because I need to know
No
what this is.
foreplay, baby. I don't need none of that.
You know what I'm saying? I need to know what this was like. And in full transparency, in my younger years, I had done things with toys before, but it had never been with a human being, right? And those were like those curious moments. Let me experiment like what this is like. And so, but I feel like when you play with toys, it's different than when another person is in control. Because even when you play with toys, you're still in control. But when you're not, and it's a human being, you're not in control. So you have no control over like what the experience will be in that moment. So I just went in super curious. And it was interesting because that was the first time I had ever had penetrative anal sex with someone on the receiving end. Yeah, like I said, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great because it was a new feeling for me that I had to like learn to adapt to and learn to get used to and to like figure out if I actually liked that or if I didn't. So it was interesting. It was interesting.
So moving forward, so after that first encounter, and
Mhm.
that's happens with I think anybody,
Yeah.
whether it's anal sex, vaginal sex, whatever type of sex. The first encounter, you just like, okay, let me see what this is. Let me see if
Hmm.
I like this or not. Let me see if there's something that I want to do again or try. So moving forward, how did you make sure that, well, one, did you like it enough to do it again?
I did, but I think I was still in that curious mindset of like, okay, this was the first time. Let me see what happens after that.
Okay. And so moving forward, when you tried it again, what did you do? If you did anything different at all, what did you do differently to make sure that, okay, I need this to be like a really good experience? Because a lot of times people,
Mm,
um, like I'll say this, like my first sexual encounter, it wasn't bad, it wasn't great, but I also didn't know how to communicate to make it great. So
mm,
I was just kind of taking what I could get, right?
yeah.
I didn't know how to say like, oh, I think I need to do this right here. And it wasn't until I started having sex with other people that I kind of figured out, oh, okay, he should do something like this or something like
Mm.
that. So how did you navigate that?
I think initially I for me, what I would do is I would like do the prep work of like opening myself up.
Okay,
'Cause you're not gonna do that. Like that's too much going on for you to be
right.
doing it. So like I think that was one thing to like learning to like it's one thing to learn to prep your body
Mhm.
for anal sex, but there's another thing to prep to receive in that moment. And so I literally had got to a point to where I would even bring my dildo with me
Mhm.
before we would do the act. I'm like, hold on, give me 1 minute. I need to go to the bathroom. Oh my God. I'll never forget. It was this one boy. He was like, he had came in the bathroom when I was in it. He was like, oh my gosh, she got a dick in her purse. And dude. Um, so so I think that was really the bigger thing because by that point I was still tucked.
Okay.
I wasn't really receiving any kind there was no mutual pleasure.
Okay.
So I still like the first, literally like within that first year, the sex was really kind of the same across the board. It was me. I was still kind of like tucked to where I couldn't be fully tucked because it couldn't, go up my crack, the tuck string. But like that was kind of still not exposed. And it was just me, arching my back.
That for their pleasure.
Yeah, so it
And
really wasn't anything that I was receiving pleasure on.
and that is so relatable.
Hmm.
here like I'm like a, like a pocket pussy for like,
Right.
for the guy. Like you just sit here counting sheep, thinking about what I gotta
Hmm.
do tomorrow, and they just on top of you doing their business, and you're like, okay, let's hurry this up.
Hmm.
This is not related, but it is. So somebody had asked me on Instagram, since you brought it up, they asked me on Instagram about how should a woman prepare for anal sex. I didn't answer
Hmm.
the question yet because I was like, I don't. When I have anal sex, I don't have it that often, so I don't really
Hmm.
prepare. Just stick it up the shoot, right? So
Hmm.
how would someone
Hmm.
prepare for anal sex? What should they do?
So I have my way, and then I think the general way is, people have enemas.
Hmm.
Unless you are really trying to clear out your small and your large intestine,
Hmm.
I would pour that solution out, and I would replace it with water. And then what you would do is you would take water and you kind of like squeeze it into your rectum, and then like push it out. And you just squeeze it up and push it out. And it's just that in and out system until we always say until the water is clear. When the
Hmm.
water is clear, that's when you know it's time. And but what I will also say is you can't go right away. You have to like let your body calm down, because I've experienced where I thought it was fully prepared, and then I'm sitting there waiting, and I'm like, wait, what's this feeling? And then some water is still traveling down to where it has to come out of the body.
Gotcha.
So it's like you have to prepare, but you can't go right away because you'll gag. You'll absolutely gag.
Okay.
Now my way, how I present day, well, now that I'm back having sex, well, even beforehand, but how I present day prepare is I take a laxative. So I cleanse my body all the way out. And then once the laxative has done its job, I then go in with the water to like, cause for me, it's easier because the track should be basically almost
Right.
clean,
Clear.
clear, whatever. But there's still some residual of like,
Yeah.
things there that you want to just clear out. So that's how I do it to make sure it's spick and span.
So if you have a Lex, that means that means you have to prepare. So it's planned
Like you got
sex.
to prepare that morning. You ain't eating all day.
Yeah. So it's so these encounters are not like spare of the moment. It's like Monday we're gonna fuck on Wednesday, so I can prepare on Tuesday or whatever.
Exactly, and that's how I do it. I'm not a spontaneous person where I'm like, yeah, come over right now, because for me, I'm like, I don't want to get nobody no shitty experience.
Right.
Pun intended, okay? I don't want to get nobody no shitty experience. So for me, I want to make sure that it is like is the baby, listen, like there's nothing going on back there before they enter that space. Yeah, and that's how I prepare. So that's why I say it's two ways. You can do that look the quick moment, because I've done that way too. Let me be clear, I've done that way too, and it's worked out. But you still got to let it process a little bit. You can't go right away. But if I know that I'm like, and it also helps me on my weight loss journey too, not like cleanse out my body,
Hmm.
detox in a way, I guess you can say. And then I'll do like my little liquid dieting for a couple days, then I'll eat, and I'll liquid diet. So baby, if I'm liquid dieting, you better catch me while I'm liquid dieting, okay?
Why you can. So
Okay.
you had mentioned that now that you're back having sex, so did something transpire that you was like, I don't want to do this no more, or were you going like through like a spiritual journey or something?
Yeah, something did happen. This boy that I was talking to for like 2.5 years, I had went over his house. Mind you, we had had sex before, but we weren't consistent. So there would be months that would go by where we weren't having sex or talking, then we'll catch up. And so this was one of those times where we were catching up. And I went through the spiel. Have you been tested? Are you seeing somebody? You got a girlfriend? Because I don't want to go through all of that. And essentially, he lied about the girlfriend part, but I'll get to that. So I told him, if we decide to have sex, it's going to be we were using condoms. I said the only thing we may not use a condom for is oral sex, but as far as you penetrating me, you're going to use a condom. And so we did that. In the midst of us having sex, he took the condom off. When I realized it was off, which was at the end, he acted like it ripped. After that, he claimed the girlfriend he didn't say he had. He said he claimed she was coming home, and so I had to leave. So I was put out. So not
Jesus.
only did you fuck me without a condom, which I didn't consent to, then you put me out right afterwards because a girlfriend that you claimed that you didn't have was coming home. And so for me, that was very traumatizing. It was so traumatizing in a way where I was like, I had just filmed P Valley. This was 2019. I had just filmed P Valley. That happened. And I just remember, like, I feel like somebody stole something from me. Like, my power was stolen from me. And I remember that next day, I went to see this boy that I had had sex before with as well. and I had sex in a way I wanted to have sex, and that was the last time. Like I felt like I needed in my mind, I feel like I needed to do that to gain some of my power back. I don't know that it didn't help
Okay.
necessarily, but that was the last time I had sex. That was like October 11th or 12th of 2019, and this last year in October made 5 years that I had not been penetrated at all, and so I was like, I have to end this. Like I feel like I didn't healed from it. I'm over it. Nothing. He didn't leave me scarred. He didn't leave me with any STIs. So thank God for that. I just got to move on with my life. And so I end up having sex again December 8th. Had sex December 8th because I was like again, having sex for the first time. I was like, what the fuck does this feel like? I don't know what this feels like anymore. Like I need to be. I went in, we do that intimate shit. Let's get right to it. I need to know what this feels like again. Not
And so after a long hiatus from it, was it what you needed? Was it like, okay, yes.
no. It was like I almost felt like, damn, do I want to have sex like this anymore? Like I know, like it was, and let me say, he was great. He did everything he was supposed to do, so it wasn't him. It was just me, and I think what I know now though is if I have sex in that way, unless I'm just really horny and I need to just like do something. I rather self pleasure before I even go have sex with somebody because I know 9 times out of 10 it's not going to be a mutual pleasuring situation anyway.
Okay.
So, but I know if I'm going to do that, I feel like I have to have it with the intimacy. Like I have to have it with
Yeah.
and we don't even have to be part like lovers or anything, but make me feel like I'm your lover in that moment.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. But after this done, baby, I'm probably like, okay, I'm tired. You can go home.
Yeah.
However, make me feel like that in that moment so I can enjoy this moment so it can be pleasurable for both of us. And then I've also along the way have developed some non-negotiables in
Okay.
sex that before I
So because I was going to ask you, like, what have you learned about sex that you, since you have like this new body, what have you learned about sex? And so, what are your, if you care to discuss them, what are your
yeah.
non-negotiables?
Um so oral sex, mutual well, I mean mutual obviously men gonna love their oral sex anyway, but I want oral sex. Thanks.
Okay. Mhm.
Um I want my ass ate, thanks. Um and really those are the non-negotiables for me. It's very simple, but those are the things where I'm just like, you're not finna just fuck the shit out of me and I get nothing out of it. You're going to give me oral sex. You're going to eat my ass
And so, when do you bring that up? Like, do you tell
because
because
I want my nut too. I'm
right.
sorry. What you say?
No, no, you good. So I tell women like typically I had the conversation. You can kind of tell when you're gonna have sex with somebody. You can kind of tell like y'all having these sexual conversations, beforehand typically.
Right.
And so, I bring up in those moments, okay, these are the things that I like. These are things that like must happen. I don't word it like that, but they get the gist. So when do you discuss these things?
At the beginning.
Okay, at the beginning of y'all talking?
Hmm.
Okay.
The same way, like for me, even with disclosing that I'm a trans person, like I don't think I'm the most passable thing walking, right? But I'm going to make sure that you know, period. So around those same conversations of, okay, I'm trans. Is that you good with that? Okay, work. Now let's have this sexual compatibility conversation because if you are not fulfilling these non-negotiables, if you feel like you want to have sex with a pre-op trans woman who has the same genitals as you, but you don't want to engage, I don't want to engage with you at all
Okay, good.
because that's stupid to me.
Right.
We both got needs and desires. That's stupid to me. Go be with somebody that's post-op, or to go be with somebody that don't have any kind of male assigned genitals. Because it don't to me, it just don't make sense. There are girls that don't want to be touched in that way. I'm not one of them. So if we can't come to that agreement, it was nice having this conversation. You have a good day. Yeah.
Tell women all the time, like we have to. It's not our pleasure; it's our responsibility.
Yes.
Right? We have to vocalize and we have to let people know that we're having sex with. This is what I need from you, and if you don't want to do that, then that is fine. I have never been in a situation where I said something like I need this and they didn't do it. Maybe once, but it's okay because sex is very easy to find.
Listen,
It like I don't think people be understanding that like it is very easy to find. Uh, you know,
have multiple partners in the same day.
You really can, especially
Ooh.
living here in Atlanta. It is
Yeah.
very easy to find. And so, and I always tell somebody, like, I have not had a bad sexual experience in a very long time.
Mm,
Years. Like, they all have not been great, let's be clear.
right.
Right. But they have been at least good. And I
Hmm.
think the reason why they're good is because I tell people what is I like. The last experience I had that wasn't so great, we had a whole conversation about it. I was like, okay, so like, this is what I need from this. Like, I need you to do it this way, that way. And he was very receptive to it. And he's like, okay, cool. And then like we had sex again that same day. And he listened. And then we had a good time. But
Word.
like if I had just not said, if I hadn't say anything, you know what I'm saying? People don't know, they're not mind readers. You need to let people know what it is you
Hmm.
like and what you don't like. So yeah,
Absolutely.
I definitely I definitely agree with you there. People, you need to have conversations, have them early, because
Early.
it don't do me no good. If I know, like, because I like my pussy ate too. Like I know, like I like oral sex. If you are someone who don't like doing that,
And, and,
like,
and I think a lot of times we succumb to that. Oh my God, he's so fine. Oh, he's so fucking fine. And he fine and ain't gonna give you no kind of pleasure.
you just gonna be sitting
Maybe you
here.
could be fine all by yourself.
Yeah.
I'm good.
So, what is one thing you wish you knew back then what's one thing that you know now that you wish you had knew in your younger years about like yourself and sex that you've learned?
I would say two things. Me being a woman of transit, my assigned sex does not inform my gender.
Okay, can you explain that?
So, meaning I was assigned male at birth, so
Hmm.
naturally people would think, oh, I'm a little boy, then I'm going to grow into a young man and then a grown adult man. Okay, got it. However, that assignment at birth did not inform my gender identity and who I am today, right? So, thus, I'm a transgender woman, period. So, it doesn't inform that, which all for me translates to if I wanted to utilize my assigned genitals in any kind of way, I can do that.
Hmm.
Because and it doesn't make me less of anything. Because what I realized, Ashley, and it was an aha moment. I don't know if I'm sure it was probably porn or some shit, but watching, probably watching porn or hearing conversations where cis women are putting on strap-ons and pegging their husbands. Now I knew about strap-ons because of lesbians, okay,
Hmm.
but a cis woman pegging her husband, I'm like, hold on.
Hmm.
So she can strap it on and still be a woman, but I have it attached to my body and I can't. No, no,
Hmm.
no, 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 no. No. So I had to change my thinking around it. And had I known that sooner, I would have like allowed myself to have the pleasure I knew that I deserved earlier than what I did. And then also, had I known what those things, such as like oral sex and having my ass ate out, felt like, and even penetrating felt like, I would have did that a long time ago. Versus me going into it with that mindset of again, if I use these genitals, I'm not a woman or I'm less of that. And so those would be the two main things that I would change and or tell my younger self as it relates to sex. Girl, use
So
them genitals. Girl, have them non-negotiables.
what would you say to cis women, right? There's this like war or battle or whatever between like cis women and trans women. Cis women feel like trans women are taking our men, or cis women feel like trans women are they're threatened by trans women for I don't know, but they are. So what would you say to that? Like what would you say to a cis woman who's gonna watch this and who's gonna, be side eyeing you, her nose all turned up, feeling away?
So this is what I would say. And I feel like women that feel like that, yeah, where are they getting this information from? That part I don't understand. However,
Why not get married? They probably why not get married? Tyler
you know,
Perry.
so my thing is, my mother is a cis woman, my sister is a cis woman, my grandmother is a cis woman, the woman that had her was a cis woman. Without people, well, without cis women, for me in my experience, I wouldn't exist and be here, right? So also, how who I am today is informed by cis women, right? Because cis women are the blueprint of womanhood. Granted, a lot of their womanhood by nature or whatever, by the social construct is informed by assignment at birth. And although I have a different assignment, had I not had a cis woman as a mother, how would I know what a woman is, or how would I know what that looks like? Now, my mom is very masculine, so I don't even associate womanhood with femininity either. Like my idea of what that is not just about, oh, a woman, a vagina, I can, have a period, I can carry a child. No. Um, so I think I feel like cis women have to understand that without them, where would any person be in this world? And so that's why I'm just like, where is this narrative coming from? I think what happens is there are women, to your point, that are threatened, and it's like y'all create that narrative and y'all project that onto us, and then when y'all come attacking us, and then we attack back, it feels like we're affirming the narrative that you have already put out there. And I think that's what happens, because I can speak for me. And I was literally just watching a podcast today where she was like, I don't understand where they get that from. Like, my mama's a cis woman, da da da, and da da da. Like, I don't know where that comes from. I have no issues with cisgender women. I love cis. I wish we could look at each other as sisters in this womanhood journey, and not like, and that's why even the way I identify, not just as a black trans woman, but I identify as a black woman of trans experience, because I want you, one, to meet me, identify me as how you meet me, right? Black woman, and then if you know I'm trans, you do. If you don't, you don't. But if you get to know me in that way, you'll find out. But also, I feel like there's this thing where community has tried to other us so much, where it's like, oh, that's a woman, but this is a trans woman. And then when you put cis on that, it's really like, oh girl, wait, no, we're women. Y'all are the other women. We're women. So it's like there's always this separation thing. And I'm just like, we didn't create the term.
It comes from like a scarcity mindset. Like, so
Well,
have there's this narrative going around that that and there's the truth, like women outnumber men, right?
hmm
And so there's only a small group of men, right, who want women. Because you have other ones, all the sexualities, all that stuff. So it's only a small group, right? So we already feel like we have to like fight for these 5 men, right? We all fight for the same 5 men, right?
yeah.
Right. And then you put in another group. Now you have women with trans experience in there. So now it's not 20 of us. Now it's 100 of us fight for the same 5 men, right, girl? Like where you come from, girl? Like, so I really do think it comes from a scarcity mindset. Like, it's not enough men to go around, and we just feel like now y'all trying to take our men. That's where I think it comes from.
And my thing, actually, even to that point, right? So if we all know that we are maybe in the battlefield for these same 520 trifling men, you
Right.
have to know that we're all having the same experiences. So even in that, how can we not stick together and come together to be like, girl, I know what you're going through. You know what I'm going through. Yeah, we might got a different assigned genitals or whatever. Some of us had sex changes, blah, blah, blah. But like, we have more common shared experiences than we do
Mm-hmm.
different if we set aside the assignment at birth and we just talk about simple, just the womanhood journey, period.
Right.
Not motherhood, not the sex assigned at birth, just being women in this world, dealing with men, or just dealing with each other,
Child.
dealing with life. So it's kind of like,
Because
yeah.
what I have come to find out. So one of my best friends is a gay guy, living here in Atlanta, and so we have very similar dating stories. So
Mm,
I've just learned that dating men altogether is trash.
listen,
Here you are. If you're gay, straight, lesbian,
right.
no matter what it is, heterosexual, it don't matter, heterosexual, whatever. Like, if you are someone who dates men, you're bisexual, whatever, you date men, we all have the same story.
Yeah.
Men are just men. Like, they men. We
Yeah.
have a lot in common.
And for the people listening that hear boots, that just means exactly.
We
It's
got a
an
lot in common,
affirming term,
baby.
or
Yeah.
affirming.
Like
term.
it was so. I was like, dang, men do that to you too. He was like, yeah, like people don't got no money. People looking for places to stay. Niggas ain't, they ain't shit.
Homosexuals, as they call them.
Yes, yes, like people. It's the same. It's not. We are really dealing with the same people. So if someone is watching this video and they want to learn more about you or follow you or all the things, where can they do that at?
They can follow me on really all the social media platforms, but follow me at Toni Toni Bryce Bryce, the Toni Bryce, on all social media platforms, from YouTube, Facebook, I'm almost said Twitter, child, X. I probably shouldn't even be on there, honey.
That
Um,
too, so it's okay.
Instagram, Snapchat. Yeah, I'm on all of the things.
In closing, what is one piece of advice you would give someone to have someone a one of trans experience, right? Who was looking to have the best sex of her life? What would you tell her?
Honestly, and this is something I've been saying for a long time. Sex is an experience, and you get to experience it in whatever ways make you happy. And for me, what that translates to, if you are using your genitals, use them. If you're not, you're not. But don't go into anything with that mindset of it's going to make you less of anything. Because when you go into it like that, you are going to suffer yourself pleasure that you're going to gag about later when you finally experience it. So that's what I always say. Sex is experience, and you get to experience it in whatever ways you want to experience it. And don't suffer yourself the pleasure of it all. Don't do it. Please do not do it. You are a woman, girl. It's okay.
Because what if you're not enjoying sex? Then what is the point?
Then what is the point? What is the point? Like sex, listen. I was a virgin for many, many years, and then I just was abstinent for many more. This part of my sex life has got to be the best, will be, let me say, the best I've ever experienced it. Because I'm going into it well informed with my non-negotiables, with many experiences. I've experienced every fucking thing at this point, and I have a different mindset than I did many moons ago. Because none of how I experience sex, none of what I like, or don't like, none of that informs my womanhood and who I am and how I show up in the world. It don't have to.
I will say this. So I didn't start having really good sex till in my 30s. So my
Hmm.
20s, it was just I was kind of learning and kind of
Right.
taking what I could get. So it wasn't until my 30s that I was like, okay, you know, I have autonomy over this. I can
Hmm.
speak my mind. There's things
Yeah.
I don't have to take what I can get, right? And then so it's been a good decade, and my 40s will be here in a week, and so I'm
Ooh.
looking. I
Happy
know.
early birthday.
No, a bitch is old. Listen. So I'm looking forward to that. I hear that, when you get 40s, you just don't give a fuck no more. So it's
Yeah.
like really, really good sex. I'm really looking
Yeah.
forward to that. But thank you for joining us tonight, Toni.
No, thank you for having me. Thank
Of
you.
course. Hold on, let me